Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I have a couple of stories to share with you guys about how the swamp is in full swing. Could have sworn that MAGA wanted to drain the swamp. They said that Donald Trump would be the only one who would do it. We'd get rid of all the fraud, all of the grifting. I could have sworn that with the whole Elon Musk thing and Doge, they wanted to get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse. And yet, I have these two stories to share with you that proves that was not true at all. And they don't seem to care. So on Friday, you guys may have heard this, that Donald Trump granted George Santos clemency. Absolutely unbelievable. The guy was given a 7-year prison term. He served only a few months. And here's what Santos had to say about this when he was questioned on Fox News. So gets out of prison, gets released after only a few months in prison, is immediately on television, immediately on Fox News, making the case for why he deserved this and what he's going to do moving forward. Check this out.
You were convicted of identity theft and wire fraud, basically misusing the funds that donors have given to you for personal reasons. Why shouldn't you have served out your full term?
Look, Charlie, I understand people want to make this into he's getting away with it.
Right.
I'm not getting away with it. I was the first person to ever go to federal prison for this type of civil FEC violation. These are usually solved in penalties. And I don't want to focus on trying to rehash the past. I want to take this experience and do good and move on with the future. Repentance is an understatement. It's like I have been dealt a second chance. I have a lot to prove to a lot of people, and I have to make sure President Trump understands that I am not going to disappoint him.
Yeah, repentance, I'm not getting away with it. Yeah, well, as you guys might remember, he owes like $600,000 in restitution. He also went on CNN over the weekend and he flat out refused to answer, refused to commit to actually paying that back. So here's what he said. They asked him, are you going to now pay that restitution, blah, 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 because he didn't pay it prior to going to prison. In fact, the judge gave him an extension. He was supposed to go to prison earlier in the year, and the judge gave him an extension so that he could work on paying some of it back. Now, when they asked him about it, Santos said, quote, I can do my best to do whatever the law requires of me, so I don't know what that is. That was the most evasive non-answer. I don't know what that is. I'm going to do my best. He was making a lot of money before he went to prison. I don't know if you guys remember, but he was doing, I forget the name of the platform, but it's a platform where celebrities or influencers, they can make videos for people, for the public, and pay them for it. So he was on there, as was Rudy Giuliani and a bunch of all these lunatics, and people were paying George Santos to make videos, like saying happy birthday to someone or, whatever you want to pay him to say. So he was making a shit ton of money. He said he was making more money doing that than he was in Congress. So he was making more than $200,000. Some estimates were that he was making like $500,000 doing this. And yet he couldn't pay people off. He couldn't pay back the restitution then. And now he's like, oh, well, we'll see. I'm going to do my best. And remember, he was not just convicted of fraud, theft, campaign finance violations, which is what he was talking about. That's what landed him in prison. But this guy was a total piece of shit. He did horrific things to people. He stole money from a single mother. She and her little girl ended up in a homeless shelter. She had, if I remember correctly, she had like an inheritance, and she just kept giving him more and more money, thinking that, he needed the help. And then she ended up living in a homeless shelter with her daughter because he took all of their money. There was that veteran. There was like an injured veteran who had a dog with cancer, and George Santos lied to him and said, "Oh, I'm going to help you. I'm working with this rescue group or whatever, and I'm going to raise funds for you for the dog to get cancer treatment." And then freaking disappeared on the guy, ghosted him, never gave him a penny of the money, and his dog ended up dying a very painful death. So this is just unbelievable that this is one of the people that Donald Trump decided deserved clemency, deserved to get out of prison. And his excuse was, because he's always been smart enough to vote Republican. What does that say about you, Donald Trump? You didn't always vote Republican. You used to vote for Democrats. Unbelievable. And he is not the only one who's benefiting from Donald Trump's presidency and the, just absolute flouting of laws and norms and decency. So check this out. Puppy killer Kristi Noem, she has used our tax dollars, almost $200 million of our tax dollars, to buy 2 private jets. Because they said, the jet that she was flying on, it was past its prime, and it had already exceeded the number of flights that they recommend, blah, blah, blah. So this person, I'll just say that because what I want to call her rhymes with witch. And I have a much worse name that I would like to use for her. But this See You Next Tuesday refuses to release FEMA funds. She has put in her department, she put a $100,000 cap on FEMA funds or on any funds coming from DHS. So if there is a bill that needs to be paid and it's over $100,000, it has to go directly through her and her people to get approved. So you have states, you have areas of the country that have been hit by natural disasters that are not getting funding, that are not getting assistance from the federal government because she is too busy flying around the country, supposedly with a man she's having an affair with. The Washington insiders are saying that it's the worst kept secret in Washington, D.C., that she and Corey Lewandowski are allegedly having an affair. It's been going on for a while. He is always with her. And, on our taxpayer dime also. And so she's so busy doing that, going horseback riding and doing her photo ops, but yet she doesn't have time to get help out to all of these states that need assistance for people who are suffering, people whose homes have been destroyed, people who have lost everything. So even red state Congress members are pissed off about this. There was an article that came out, I think it was just last week, from some red state Congress member pissed off because number one, they can't get a hold of her. She's not answering their calls. She doesn't return their calls. And then they're asking for help for their states and nobody's responding. People are just left hanging. So they can spend almost $200 million of our tax money on this, but can't help average Americans. Can't help people pay for health care. Can't help people with childcare, can't help people with SNAP benefits so they have enough to eat at night and their kids go to bed with a full stomach. But we can spend $200 million on freaking jets. And then how many millions are going to, what is it, like 200, another 200, 250 million to that ballroom that we didn't need at the White House? And people are saying, oh, well, that's, wealthy donors are putting up that money. Here's an idea. How about those wealthy donors just actually pay their fair share in taxes so that Americans can have what they need? So they're willing to give money to Trump to, to grease the wheels, to make him happy, to beg him and bow down to him and pay homage to him. They're willing to do that, but they are not willing to pay what they owe in taxes. They want to keep those loopholes and not pay their fair share in taxes and stiff the American people, the people who work for them, who have made them wealthy. Yeah, we get it. We get it. But, don't call it an oligarchy, is what they say. Yeah, but we don't have a king. Really? Sure sounds like they're going and laying their, tributes at Trump's feet, at the king's feet. Anyway, guys, nothing has changed for anybody, any MAGA people out there who thought that Trump was different. He was going to, rip the mask off and clear out the swamp and make things better in DC. No, it's worse. It is a billion times worse. And at the same time, you have none of the watchdogs in place because he's gotten rid of all of them. He's gotten rid of all of the inspector generals who would have been keeping an eye on this stuff, who would have been investigating and making sure that things were being done properly. So good job. Good job. You did the complete opposite of what you were hoping for. Anyway, I will let you know if I hear any more. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.